Hello everyone, Mars is going to move into Sagittarius on January 16th. He's more than happy to be in this sign. It's a sign of the battlefield. So this brings a lot of excitement and dynamism into everybody's life. But here's the thing, to get into Sagittarius, he has to pass over the dangerous Gandanta point. And when he's in the sign, he'll meet up with Sukra Venus in a grand conjunction. Quite a disturbing conjunction, as I'm going to show you. So if you're new to my channel, don't forget to sub below, and if the video is good for you, give it a thumbs up. Let's begin. But the first dates to note in your diary, everybody, are the Gandanta transit dates, the 15th to 17th of January, when Mars is moving from Scorpio, a water sign, into the fire sign of Sagittarius. There's a massive clash between the energies of water and fire. However, in this case, everyone, because Mars is a fire energy and he's moving from his own home into the sign, as I say, of the battlefield, he's more than happy. And actually, he gets extra energy, extra push during this time, but it's still a little bit difficult dealing with other people. What happens is everybody's getting to boiling point, literally, as the fire is boiling up the water element, and everybody is feeling agitated and ill at ease during these dates. So although Mars will become energized almost during this Gandanta transit and will actually want to push forward in a very dynamic way, you will feel the need to make a dramatic move during this time. Everybody, say things on your mind, start something new, push ahead where you'd been holding back. Don't do it. Just try to hold back a little more until Mars is steady in the sign of Sagittarius, because you're likely to literally trip yourself up and get yourself into more trouble than you were before. So caution in all things when Mars is in a Gandanta transit. So the astrology is very interesting, everybody. The 16th of Jan, as Mars enters Sagittarius, you should know he's becoming stronger by the minute. This transit of Mars, you should know, between the signs of Scorpio, Sagittarius, and then Capricorn, his exaltation sign, is where Mars is strongest in the whole zodiac. Why is that? Because Scorpio is the bunker, the home where he plans out his strategy. No one can see what he's doing. He's in secret. He's mighty strong. He goes into the battlefield in Sagittarius. He puts on his armor and he fights the righteous war. And then he gets stronger and stronger until he enters his exaltation sign, the sign of Capricorn. People cannot understand, particularly from the Western system, why Mars is exalted in Capricorn, but you can see why. He's on the battlefield, he's fighting the battle, and what gives a general victory in the battle? The more bodies of the enemies are piling up, right? And Capricorn is the graveyard, where he is exulting in the death, in the defeat of the enemies. So actually, as I was thinking about making this video of this tremendous power that Mars has now, coming from Scorpio to Sagittarius and then exalted into Capricorn, I was thinking, because I used to study history, I wonder where Mars was when the Second World War began. And I was not disappointed to see at all that Mars was in Scorpio at the beginning of 1939, powering into the battlefield of Sagittarius and then into Capricorn as the whole World War took off, particularly September when they invaded Poland. Nazis invaded Poland. Don't forget, this was the Blitzkrieg. This gave them the power to power ahead and just demolish every country in front of them throughout Europe. Now, Mars transits in these signs every 2 years or so. So we're not saying it's the beginning of the Third World War, everybody, but I'm just trying to show you the power that Mars has in these signs so that you can use it wisely. Well, basically, everybody will get moving with their plans. I promise you, you will not wait a moment longer. You'll be ready to say what you have to say to people, to go for the interview, to go for the job, to say that you want a relationship with somebody, to end a relationship, to start something new. Whatever you've been putting on hold, you've been planning, you will actually execute during this Sagittarian phase. Mars in Sagittarius also fires up everybody's sense of righteousness about their rights, if you like, my human rights, my religious rights, everything. People are prepared to put their life on the line to fight for what they believe in, whatever it is, during this Mars in Sagittarius transit. It goes without saying then there can be both positive and negative factors connected to this enthusiasm, if you like, especially where there is fanaticism, so look out for that. But the most important factor, of course, will be when Mars gets into this very inconvenient conjunction with Venus. This will be on the 12th of February when Mars in conjunction with Venus at 20 degrees Sagittarius. Venus now direct, so this means that basically they're traveling together forward a little bit, although Venus will quickly move away faster. Now, what is this about? Put aside all of the Western astrology, everybody. Mars is men and Venus is women, and they get together. It's going to be lovely and sexy and romantic and just in time for Valentine's Day. Nothing of the sort. So why is this encounter between Mars and Venus so difficult? Well, you have to understand who is Mars, who is Venus. Very, very briefly here, Venus is Jala, water, contains all the tenderness and the semen basically for reproduction. Venus is about making babies, getting together, having relationships so that the whole species can survive. Mars, however, is a warrior par excellence, and therefore he is celibate. He is not getting engaged in sexual relationships. If you want to be a successful soldier, if you want to be a really great general, warrior, you must contain the semen. You must not have sex before the battle. You need to be completely contained. And Mars is this. He is what is known as a brahmachari. Mars is also the fire element, the fire that helps you to fight to win the war. So basically, the water is putting out some of the fire here. Venus's Jala is being evaporated, and Mars is being virtually doused with a whole pile of water in the middle of the battle. It's not the meeting of a beautiful maiden in the middle of the battlefield in distress and Mars rescues or any such combination. Mars is irritated and highly angry and not at all happy with this, let's say, difficulty arising before him. So what does this mean in everyday life? Venus is the temptation for enjoyment, for sexual encounter, etc. And yes, I will admit, when Mars fire gets close to this, there can be very intense infatuations, very intense conversations between partners, spouse, or new relationship gets off to a completely fiery, even sexual start. Everything becomes intense and the senses become inflamed in this Venus-Mars conjunction. So for everybody, all of a sudden your sense of purpose, which you've had since the beginning of this Mars transit, is going to come up against something of a roadblock. Basically, you become tempted by the easy route. Don't forget, Venus is money as well. You become tempted by the quick buck. You become tempted by the shortcut. You become tempted by a love affair, by some new attraction, depending on your situation. You become tempted by all sorts of seemingly materially gratifying factors. If you're on a diet, Venus Mars come together, you'll probably break the diet, okay? So these sort of things happen. Venus Mars, it tempts you to go for what is actually not good for you. And when you get over the transit, you have a lot of regrets. So any new relationship meeting up around this time, it will be intensely magnifying for you, but it probably won't last the course. That can be seen, although there are many other things to see as well, obviously. If you get into any tempting, compromising sexual situation, it will cause you pain, heartache in the long run. So Mars-Venus is not a happy combination, everybody. Materially, you can get yourself into a real debt situation. Overspending happens. You just go through the whole credit card on this Venus-Mars conjunction. So be very careful. There is some temptation coming into your path, and you must try and resist it. So with those warnings in mind, everybody, let's continue on to the readings. We're reading from the Vedic Moon and Ascendant sign. You should read both for the deepest impact. If you have a Western chart, as always, please take away 23 degrees from the position of your Ascendant and your Moon to get the correct sign. Let's begin. For Aries, Moon and Aries Lagna both, Mars, your Lord, going into Sagittarius. Wow, you've been waiting for this moment to move ahead with many areas of your life. Particularly, by the way, if you are a student, it's really good because it gives you real enthusiasm on your course and you can make great progress, get really good marks, study really well in this period. But here's the thing for everybody, it's about expanding knowledge in your life and about contact with gurus and mentors and teachers of all sorts. But the trouble is, of course, Mars is contentious in this sign, and you can get yourself into some big arguments also with these very same people, including with your father. You are a business person. Mars, Lord of your 8th house, going into this 9th house, puts you in mind to start some new venture. It could be good, but don't forget there's a very iffy period around the time when Mars conjuncts your 7th and 2nd Lord Venus. Mars and Venus coming together is a real difficult moment for Aries. You need to have caution, as I've discussed on the video around the dates I've just mentioned. Be really cautious. You could be tempted to all sorts of financial shortcuts and it could really get you into difficulty. For everybody, though, you can definitely benefit during this time from foreign contacts and going into foreign lands, maybe foreign travel, maybe there. You are also able to make important changes in your domestic life, but it's going to cause you some contention. There can be quarrels with your family members. There can be difficulty with your mother even. It's a tricky period for your domestic life, but really good in every other department of your life. Conjunction of Mars and Venus is very important for Aries, though, because Venus is, of course, your 7th house lord and your 2nd lord, and Mars is yourself. So some financial deal could be very much in front of you around that time. Listen to what I've already said about Mars, Venus, though. It mightn't be all it seems. Watch for sudden business moves, opportunities. Make sure they are really what they seem to be. With your spouse, there could be contention, arguments, difficulties around 12th of February. And if you are free and single, there could be a new attraction coming suddenly into your life. Once again, make sure that it is truly compatible long term. For Taurus Moon, Taurus Lagna, Mars, Lord of your 7th and 12th house, going into the 8th house of joint finances, business affairs, and transformation. You're going to do some mighty changes in your financial affairs in the next 6 weeks. You're going to have no holds bars dealing with your expenses, cutting things back to the bare minimum. You're going to be doing some very good Taurian business management during this period. It might mean if you are in any business partnership, conflict with that same business partner, but it could also be favorable for you because Mars aspects the 11th house of gain. So changes to your investment, financial savings, etc. will long term have many gains for you if you make them during this transit. But Mars aspect to the 2nd house shows family feuds, family concerns, wills, legacies, inheritances. All of these cause conflict during this time also. And a situation with your siblings by this 8th aspect is not pretty good either. There can be more conflict family-wise with your siblings. Keep your thoughts to yourself. Mars in this very secretive house, being your 12th house lord, makes you secretive about your plans, and maybe that's the best thing. Up with the Venus-Mars conjunction. Venus is your lord, but also the lord of your 6th house of quarrel, contention, litigation. And when he joins up with Mars, lord of your partner, lord of your business partner, we can see this is when the most difficult part of the whole transit happens, around February the 12th. Watch out for that time. Listen again if you've not to what I've already said about the Venus-Mars conjunction. It's not what you think it should be. It's not romance and flowers. It's contention and difficulty. So watch out for that point. But there is a good factor to it also. You can get agreement with a business partner, with a spouse through compromise now. You may come up with an ingenious business plan around this time, but watch for shortcuts at all costs. during this time. And if you are free and single, there's definitely a chance of a very passionate encounter happening around the middle of February. As I've said, though, watch out that you are truly compatible long term. For Gemini Moon and Gemini Lagna, Mars is Lord of your 6th house, but he's also Lord of your 11th house. So he brings you into some pretty difficult ego conflicts with others. Litigation, crisis around workplace situations are going to come to the fore now with Mars in the 7th house. What it means is that Mars in this weak position, actually, Marakastana, you're getting so much stress from your colleagues, from your workplace situation, and it's highly irritating to you during this transit. Mars aspect on the 10th house, you're going to be wanting to make changes in your work situation, or you may be forced to them from other people like work colleagues. You mightn't like the changes, but you have to go along with them just now. Don't lose your temper with the boss. It's going to backfire badly because Mars aspects 1st house. You're going to be feeling angry and irritated during this whole transit, but the good news, you can get health benefits from this. You can start a new exercise routine. You can get a lot fitter from this Mars aspect onto the 1st house. But watch it with your spouse. Watch it with your girlfriend, boyfriend, partner, even close friends. Words could be spoken that you regret. So they're putting a lot of pressure on you. Maybe you should just escape to the gym. It could be the best place for you now. On that note, what you're eating, because Mars has an 8th aspect, a danger aspect to the 2nd house of food. You may eat something not healthy for you now. You could get into a really impulsive, compulsive element with your food intake. Try to stay healthy. Try to avoid foods that you know are not good for you. But of course, the big thing is when Venus conjuncts with Mars in your 7th house around the 12th of Feb. Again, if you've not heard what I've said on the video, check that out for all the details of what to expect. It's going to impact relationships. There could be a big showdown with your spouse around that time. There could be a lot of words spoken that are really difficult. There could be frayed tempers with your close friends, colleagues, everybody. You see, Venus-Mars is not a happy combination. If you are free and single, this could be a new attraction coming into your life, but it seems out of reach. It just seems unattainable. And is it really suitable for you? Check everything out carefully. Cancer, Moon and Lagna, it's good for you when Mars, who's a good planet for your sign, a good friend to your Lord Moon, goes into the 6th house. Malefics in this house sort out problems. You've had long-standing health problems. Now you're going to get on top of them. Now you will get the right consultation, the right medicine, the absolute right treatment for yourself. Mars is Lord also of the 10th house of your chart. This is really good for your work situation too. Unsuitable working conditions can be changed now. You can push forward, say what's been on your mind for a long time, deal with intractable work colleagues, make the whole working life situation work for you in a really much more suitable manner. So make use of this great power that Mars gives you in the 6th house of your chart. The aspect of Mars onto the 9th house is really good for students, good for your studying, good for understanding difficult subjects. Aspect to the 12th house, you get inspired during this time with ingenious solutions to your problems, and you sort out your money affairs, you sort out all of your debts as well. And finally, Mars aspect to the 1st house gives you renewed vitality, but you have to make an effort. You have to start some new exercise regime. You have to put effort into your own fitness. The one difficult moment, though, is when Venus conjuncts with Mars, as I've been talking about around the 12th of Feb. As I've said already on the video, it's a tricky moment. Venus and Mars are not happy together, or when they come in this conjunction, particularly 6th house. So what's going to happen is around that time, some niggling health problems come up, some niggling issues maybe with your spouse, because Venus is always relationship for everybody, or with a new relationship. Suddenly you're not so sure about it. Suddenly you seem incompatible. Give it a bit more time. See how things play out. For Leo Moon, Leo Lagna both, Mars is such a strong planet for you, your Yoga Karaka. And when he's in the 5th house of your chart, your ego gets very strong in this period, but it's going to bring you up with some conflicts. However, Mars in this house is great, though, for creative solutions to your problems. You really come up with them now, but the thing is, are they getting other people's backs up? Make sure that you don't do that, because Mars has aspect to the 8th house of your chart. There can be conflict with your spouse about financial solutions. There can be business conflicts and all sorts of ego bruising happening, particularly in your friendship networks. All of a sudden, you're finding new openings in your network circles and you're enthusiastic about these new friendships. They could even become romantic. I'll talk about that in a minute. Mars aspect to the 12th house, though, you get on top of your expenses, but you don't seem to do so to begin with. To begin with, you may spend more than you expected to. The one problem with Mars here is gambling and speculation. To make the most of Mars aspect here, you must avoid this because Mars has an aspect to the house of stock market, which is the 8th house. You're going to want to take a mighty leap into the dark, be cautious and take advice. Watch out for the Venus-Mars conjunction I've spoken about already on the video. Now, this for you is in the 5th house. It could be a big issue with your spouse. Venus is actually spouse for everybody, or even with your boss or your siblings, all involved with Venus in your chart. There's a lot of egos flying and it gets a bit contentious. Watch out for that time, 12th of Feb, but also watch out for speculation, monetary gain, even overspending could easily occur around 12th of Feb. But if you are free and single, there's a very compulsive attraction coming into your life in February. It's really compulsive, really strong, possibly from your friendship network circles, but check it out long term, as I've discussed on the video. For Virgo Moon and Virgo Lagna, Mars in the 4th house is not an easy transit for you at all. It's going to give you some real difficult domestic situations and quarrels and contentions, particularly with your spouse by the 4th aspect. You're trying to make changes now in your home life, and in a way they've become unavoidable, but they're going to create great tension with your nearest and dearest. Now, the aspect of Mars coming onto the 10th house means that some of you have lost patience with difficult working arrangements. You may have to make great changes in your working life, in your working space, wherever you work. Some of you even working from home, but it's causing difficulty. So there's some definite changes going on career-wise, home-wise, which, although they are challenging, have simply got to go through at this time, requiring all of your energy and attention. Those of you involved in education course, it's a bit of a disturbing moment as well because Mars in the 4th house makes it hard to study in your domestic environment. Once again, you've got to make necessary changes so that you can give your full force and energy to your studies at this time. But watch out for the Venus-Mars conjunction around the 12th of Feb, though, in the 4th house. This is where the cards go on the table between you and your spouse. This is where you really come to grips with some intractable problems between you. It could be issues with your mother's family as well happening. There's some deep family conflict going on at this Venus-Mars conjunction, and you're right in the middle of it. The good news is that Mars has an 8th aspect onto the 11th house. Mars likes to aspect the 11th house. This means that opportunity for gain in your life, for increase of income, are actually available to you at this time and may become available during this Mars-Venus transit. But once again, as I've warned on the video, look into it very carefully to make sure it's really going to be profitable for you long term. For Libra Moon and Libra Lagna both, this is a very good transit for you. Mars coming into the 3rd house of your chart becomes super powerful. He's your 7th house lord. Yes, he brings you into confrontation with other people, but you're up for it now. What's happening is you're finally saying the things that you wanted to say to so many people for some time, but you're still being your normal, tactful self. So you'll probably get away with quite a lot in this transit. You're going to push out the boundaries of your life very successfully on many fronts. Mars in the third house brings you out of your shell and makes you determined to make the most of opportunities, particularly in education. It's really favorable for students. You might have a little bit of contention with a teacher, mentor, maybe even a guru, some of you, but you're still speaking your mind, and basically you're getting noticed for your intellectual skills during this period. You involved in media work or a writer, presenter of any sort, or involved in any computer or software programming, wow, the most fantastic opportunities come to you when Mars is in this house, aspecting 10th house of your career. Look for the openings, they're definitely there. But this transit helps your health as well. Mars aspect, fourth aspect in the sixth house. You get on top of many health problems that have been worrying you recently. You can start a new diet, exercise routine very successfully at this time. Many of you make the most of new opportunities in your career also. Sometimes, though, you actually make a complete break because Mars has an 8th aspect on the 10th house of your chart. You're going to ask for that pay rise. You're going to push yourself forward. You're going to be very competitive in your career during the next few weeks. The only downside is that Mars could get you into some trouble or to some confrontation with the boss or superiors, and sometimes also with your siblings, but it's nothing serious. The thing, though, to watch out for is when Venus, your Lord, comes into the conjunction with Mars I've been talking about on the video around the 12th of February. When Venus and Mars, the Lord of your first and the Lord of your seventh, come together, there's a real showdown with you and your spouse. But it's an important moment because Mars has strength here. You may have to compromise with your spouse a little bit, but you'll be okay with that so long as you can speak your mind. If you're looking for a new romantic opportunity, you may find that maybe sometimes when you are traveling because of Mars aspect onto the 9th house. But this is a very compulsive attraction. As I've said, make sure it's suitable long term. Of course, Venus is your 8th house lord of your joint assets, monetary factors, savings, wills, legacies, but also business. So Venus conjuncting Mars here can show a really fantastic unsought business opportunity or even job opportunity for some of you around the middle of February. Scorpio Moon, Scorpio Lagna, this is a great transit for you. Mars, your Lord, is gaining power now since December, right up until he gets into exaltation in Capricorn. Check the beginning of the video to see what I'm talking about here. You're getting strength every day, and Mars in the 2nd house gives you enormous strength to sort out outstanding concerns in your life, especially financial matters, in a really ingenious way. You will sort out outstanding business affairs and completely revitalize any business matters. You make outstanding investments and financial changes now to your savings, pensions, whatever, will go extremely well indeed. You might get into some contention with your family members, however, but you have to go along with this because these are much needed changes. If you are seeking to start a family, Mars aspect onto the 5th house shows that children could be coming into your life now. But if you have children already, watch out because Mars aspect shows a controlling factor with your kids. There could be some contention with them in this Mars Sagittarius transit. Those of you who are studying, students, what a fantastic transit because you will decide now what course is the right course for you and you will have no hesitation changing everything to make it work for you. Why is this? Because Mars has an 8th aspect onto the 9th house of higher study. So make those changes now. You will absolutely make the right decision and studying will go extremely well. You have enormous concentration and dynamism during this Mars in Sagittarius transit. The conjunction of your Lord Mars with your 7th Lord Venus around the 12th of Feb is very important. It's a very important turning point in your intimate relationship, spousal relationship, girlfriend, boyfriend, or even with a close friend or a business partner. There's a very important conversation. Now, Mars here makes you cutting with your speech, harsh with your speech. Be careful or you may regret words spoken in the moment, as it were. But you come to some good understanding. Just make sure you are being scrupulously honest That's the most important point. If you are seeking a new relationship, Mars aspecting Venus, 7th house shows somebody coming into your orbit now with a very strong attraction for you. But as I've just said on the video, make sure that it's compatible long term. That's the important thing. Sagittarius, Moon and Lagna, Mars coming into your first house. What a dynamic few weeks are ahead of you. You're going to be not waiting for anybody to make the moves you wanted to make in your life for some time. You become very, very forward thinking, also having all sorts of plans for your future during this time. But hold fire. Mars makes you super impulsive in this transit. The first area you're going to have a lot of impulsivity is around your home life. Mars has a fourth aspect on the house of domestic affairs. The fourth aspect of Mars means control. You want to take control of everything in this home life and sort it out. Now, this could be very good because you won't hold back from what needs to be done. But once again, you've got to be careful that you don't create domestic stress among those people that you live with. There could be some disharmony. Why is this? Mars' confrontational 7th aspect is on the house of spouse, partner, close friend, and business partner. So you are very determined now, very forthright, and you could actually get people's backs up. Be careful that you don't create tension in your relationships. On the positive side of this transit, though, Mars in the first house is going to make you so energetic and it's going to help you get your fitness back into gear. Some of you taking up new sporting activities, some of you getting into the gym almost every day. You're so full of energy that you need to find an active outlet, and it will increase your health. Your health will become stronger and stronger during this Mars Sagittarius transit. Watch out for the time when Venus conjuncts up with Mars. Venus is your 11th and your 6th house lord. He brings contention into your life and litigation problems, some of you around 12th of Feb. But most of all, he makes you very attracted to other people suddenly. There can be sudden infatuation, sudden attractions happening with this Venus-Mars, as I've already talked about at the beginning of the video. Watch out, it's directly affecting you personally. If that's not the case, it's a money matter factor. Venus means sources of income. So a really lucrative source of income comes your way around February 12th. But look at it carefully because, as I've explained to you, Venus-Mars can be very tempting, but not always what it seems to be. For Capricorn, Moon, Capricorn, Lagna, it's a tricky juncture for you when Mars, who is enemy to your Lord Shiny, goes into the 12th house of your chart. But there are some good factors. Let's see. The first thing is you're going to be very secretive during this phase. You're going to be keeping a lot of things under wraps. And this will actually have the adverse effect of increasing tension with your family members, with your work colleagues, and indeed with your relationship. What's happening is that Mars behind your moon sign or indeed ascendant sign, either way, is making you feel ill at ease, a little bit agitated and unsure now. You've not got normal confidence at this time. So the best thing is to hold fire on certain big changes in your life. Wait until Mars is in your first house when all of those changes will be inevitable. This is a planning stage for Capricorn, Moon and Lagna. And what are you planning? Home changes. Mars is your 4th lord, and changes to your job and income, looking for new sources of income. But now is not the time to make them work for you. Why? Because Mars increases expenditure now rather than increasing income, particularly on health matters and domestic matters. Things get a little bit out of hand with this Mars 12th house. But you're very snazzy with your finances, Capricorn. You will sort this in an excellent way. Be cautious with your health. Mars aspects the 6th house. There can be sudden fevers, sudden infections. Don't worry about this. Mars aspecting 6th house gives you the energy to recuperate quickly, but it's all about watching your energy output. Mars in this 12th house gives you not as much energy as you normally have. So conserve energy, conserve resources, and make the best of the positive aspect of the transit. Mars energizes your subconscious mind, so all sorts of inspiring ideas come to you in your dreams. Take a note of them during this period. This is a great time for metaphysical study, occult study. Astrology is ruled by Mars. Any astrological study in the next weeks will be inspiring and really worthwhile. When Venus conjuncts with Mars around the 12th of Feb, watch out for situations with your children or in educational factors, because Venus is your 5th house lord. But Venus rules your 10th house as well. So you can expect some curveball in your career coming your way, or some secret information made known to you. Mull over this, but don't take any action at this time. Now, if you are free and single, once again, Venus conjunct Mars always gives a very impulsive attraction. Venus is your 5th house lord, about love affairs. So there could be some secret love affair, some secret attraction. There could be anything like this depending on your situation. But be very cautious, because Venus Mars is not always showing long-term potential. Check that out carefully. For Aquarius, Moon and Lagna, you've been waiting for this transit for Mars to go into the 11th house, the most powerful house for Mars, the house where he gets things done in your life, brings up new opportunities for income, for gain, and he really promotes you in the workplace. Mars is the lord of your 10th house, so your ambitions know no bounds in these few weeks. You're pushing open all the doors, every opportunity. You're there before anybody else. If you have a job interview, it should be successful. Mars gives you that extra push and that verve, which seniors and superiors notice. So you can be very successful. If you are in any business situation, new marketplace opportunities come to you and you waste no time in grabbing hold of them. It's a very successful time for increase of income in your life. But Mars is not a friend to your Lord Shani or to Rahu, so you can expect that even though you are successful, some contention comes into your life. Mars has a 4th aspect to the 2nd house of family. Watch out for family tensions. To the 5th house of children, they could be having some serious issues now. But best of all, Mars aspects the 6th house, so whatever issues, contentions, quarrels come up now, you manage to make them work out. You don't let them continue. You sort out litigation, legal problems now. You get rid of all your competitors with real ease during this time. You're just not standing still to be bothered with these factors. You're just moving forward with a really good focus in your life in this Mars Sagittarius transit. Now, Mars has an 8th aspect during this transit to the 6th house of your chart, so sudden health issues may come up, but fortunately Mars will destroy them. Mars will get rid of them almost immediately. So take quick action if you feel ill in this transit. You will quickly get on top of matters. Watch out for the Venus-Mars conjunction, though, Aquarius, in your 11th house. There could be contention in your friendship network circles, problems with your children, and all sorts of issues in educational settings around 12th of February. Check what I've already said about that. If you are free and single, there could be a strong attraction in your friendship network circles, but it's more likely to be that this is actually contention in your friendships. Friends may need your help, and you may have to actually drop everything to be there for them in that period. Pisces, Moon and Lagna, Mars is your 2nd house lord, but also your 9th house lord of fortune. He's gone into the 10th house of career. This is the moment to knock on those doors, to apply for those jobs, to go for those interviews, to push out, because Mars can actually increase wealth in your life during this period. You're very active pursuing what you want to do in your career now. But the problem is Mars is a little bit contentious for you here with your superiors. Be careful to be respectful. You could say things you regret and get yourself into trouble. But that's not really very likely here. Mars gives you power to just leave a job if you need to, find a new job almost immediately, and do things with a lot of dynamism that you normally don't have so much. But it's all about you putting in the energy. It isn't going to open up in front of you. You have to push for these things to happen in your career. Domestic life, Mars 7th aspect onto the 4th house of the chart. There can be sudden repairs necessary. Real estate can take up a lot of your attention. Some of you may even be moving during this time, and it should go very well, but it takes a lot of energy and attention. But Mars aspect onto the 1st house, though, is really good. It gives you more energy to deal with these things. You get yourself fitter, paying more attention to your physical well-being. Watch out, though, because Mars is in a mutable sign, Sagittarius, just like your sign. So it's very important to stay focused. Don't take on too much all at once, or you will actually scatter your energy. Those of you studying, students, it's excellent with Mars aspecting 4th and 5th house. You make all the effort you can to get ahead in your studies. You study well and you get great grades in this period. But there's that sticky moment when Mars comes up against Venus I've been talking about on the video. Check that out, around the 12th of February. Now, Venus is your 3rd house lord and your 8th house lord. Not a good planet for Jupiter-led Pisces. So sudden, easy temptations come to you. Watch out for those job opportunities around 12th of Feb. They may not be what they seem. Be really cautious around that period, otherwise you may actually fall for a false promise at that time. Remember, though, that Venus is your 3rd house lord, and with Mars in the 10th house, there could be competitive atmosphere with your work colleagues. There could be words spoken in the workplace which you regret. Watch your communication around 12th of Feb. There's a very competitive and challenging atmosphere in your workplace at this time. And even there could be sexual and romantic undertones, because Venus-Mars always gives that. But be really careful. This could compromise your whole reputation. On your screen right now, don't forget to check out the other transits occurring around this time, particularly Mercury retrograde. And if you're new to my channel, don't forget to sub below. Goodbye for now, and God bless everyone.